Hello guys, still Win Cards here with another video, and this time let's talk about some of the singles that are screaming buys and why you should take this opportunity. So let's start with Scarlet and Violet. This video will be all from Scarlet and Violet, and which ones do I think that are the most obvious buys. You might have seen a video before from me explaining the rule that I use to make quick purchases and to get the best value for each card, the ones that I'm confident that will jump in price. And here in this first example, we have a very different type of opportunity. So usually I will check the available items for every single card, and if they are around 200 or less, I will make the purchase. In this specific case, you can see that are more than 200, way more than 200 available items. But I would say that this goes for every single legendary that is way above 200 cards for purchase. I do think that they will always jump in price. It might take a while. Usually the entry point it's a little bit higher than the other cards, but just look at this card. It's amazing. And there is no way that this card in the future will be only 15 euros. So this is a good opportunity to get a new copy to your binder. It's a good opportunity to invest in this card at a cheaper entry point. So here, as you can see, Koraidon EX is my first recommendation. Also, you will have Miraidon as well. So the box legendaries, even though they are above 200 available, I think they are always a good buy. You will see these in other sets as well, but I do think that there is no chance that these cards will only be this price. Okay, so that's it for these first two, and I do think that this is also an amazing illustration. So for Scarlet and Violet base set, you'll have two cards that I do consider that are screaming buys. There are other options as well, but these two for me are quite obvious, and I will explain why. So as you can see here, the available items are around 200. The card is fairly cheap, and you might even think that it's dropping a little bit in price. But if you look closely, what you'll see is that we have so little available. And this tells me that this card will eventually go up in price, and it might be faster than we think. So either way, if you want to invest in this card to sell it for a higher price in the near future, I think it's a good opportunity. Blah, blah. I think it's a good opportunity. But if you want to add it to your binder, the time is now. Because as you can see, there is little available, and you can get this card for a cheap price. So this is the first one, and the next one is Fido. The same situation. So here it's even less available, and the price is very, very cheap. So to add it to our binder or to do it as an investment, this is a very screaming buy. Okay, So these are the first two for the base set. Then we move into Paldi Evolved. And here I actually stocked up in this card. I have about to arrive, I think it's 3 copies of this card. I already purchased one the week before for my binder. So I already have this one. This one in a PSA 10, I think it goes for 100 euros or more. So there is another play that you can do here. If you purchase these cards for as little as 8, 9, 10 euros, let's say 11 euros shipped to you, you are in for a huge payout, because as you can see, the same as the other two that I showed before, there is so little available. There is no PSA 10s here, so if you are able to secure one, you'd be in for a special price. And yeah, the same. Available items, very low. The price here, you can see that is jumping right now in price. And that's why I also think that this one is a good buy. Also, I want to focus your attention on something. If the card jumps in price, let's say that this card in 1 to 2 weeks, you will see only these ones available. Okay? Don't buy it right away. Don't FOMO and don't think, okay, now the card is way more expensive and I have to buy it now. What usually happens is that when you have this little available, less than all these ones, or these ones are already sold, these ones will get more expensive, but there will be a grace period. And what do I mean by that? The market will tell if that jump in price is accepted by itself. So for a while you will see that no one will buy the cards for these values. And then there will be some people that will list their cards to make some profit for a little bit less. And then you will see after around 2 weeks what is the real price of the card. But yeah, this is kind of hard to explain in this situation right here, but if I find one good example, I will show you. So once again, Paldean Tauros, it's another screaming buy. Also, evolution lines. I think this is very obvious, but whenever there is evolution lines, even if they are from different sets, they are always a good buy. And why? Because, for example, if my favorite Pokemon is Excalibur, I would like to have the whole evolution line. If my favorite Pokemon is Tinkaton, I would like to have the evolution line. So the easiest way to think about what cards are a good investment, besides taking into account the price trend, the average price, the available items, is the cards available are from evolution lines, if they are starters, or if they are legendaries. Okay, so these three things are very important to take into consideration. There is a grading play there, and from the collection standpoint, it's a very easy way to interpret the possibilities that you have with those cards. So once again, available items, under 200, and as you can see, this card is a perfect buy. There are very little available. I would say that you can get it for like 7 to 8 euros shipped to you, probably 8 to 8.50, and to me it's a screaming buy. Also, the artist is very famous, so there is another point here that you can consider. Also, if even if this one was not already bought out, you can check the other ones. So this one, I think there is still a little room, but as you can see, there is very little available, and this one is even cheaper. So hey, available items very low. It's another screaming buy. And this one, the same. And as you can see, this one has even less. So people will probably start to buy this one out. Middle evolutions, I think, are not as much appreciated. So they are left at the end of the purchase order. So it's like people will go for this one first, then they will go for this one, and next to it, this one, okay? But there is a screaming buy in this evolution line. So next, we have Tinkatink, also very low available items, very cheap cards, and yeah, I think this one too, as well as Tinkatuff. This one has even less available, so yeah, this one is a screaming buy. And Tinkatan. So here basically I'm just stating the obvious. Some of these cards I already have. Some of these cards I ordered last week, and some of them I don't have because I can't make all the plays that I see. I have to be picky because I have so much money available. I can't spend it all right away. So I'm just listing all the cards that I consider that are good options, and if you have the opportunity, just pull the trigger. So here I just left out the other two stages of these evolution lines, but as much as it's glaring to me that Miraiden and Koraiden will jump in price, these ones are also pretty obvious plays. They are the starters, so there is no mistake there. And as you can see, this card right now, 15, 16 euros, you can get a final evolution from your favorite starter, and you can get the evolution line. I do think that Fuecoco jumped a little bit in price, so yeah, this one might be... I do think, I'm not sure, but I do think that the Fuecoco is more expensive than Skellydirge, but we can check it later. And yeah, this is another one. This is a pretty obvious buy as well. Right now I do think it's cheap. And Quackable on this one is not as well accepted as the other two, but I do think that you will have a good buy here. And in this case, even considering grading, it's a good option. It's a very good option. It's always a good option. And then we go into the legendaries on Paldia Evolved. You have Wu Qian, screaming buy as well. So the price jumped from 9, the cheapest, to 15. And how many available? Yeah, a little bit more than what I'm aiming for, but once again, it's a legendary. It's a pretty obvious play. These ones are a little bit more expensive, and as you can see, less available items, and yeah, not many available. So another one, this one has a little bit more available, but I do still think that if you want this card, you can pick it right now. And this one is fairly cheap. I do think this one is a very good card, and this one might take a little bit more to jump in price, but it's, once again, it's a legendary, so make your purchase based on that. Then we move into Obsidian Flames, and this is my mascot, one of my favorite Pokemon, Caesar. And it's also a card that graded goes for more than 100 euros in a PSA 10, so I already had this card in my binder, and I had 2 other copies that I sold before, and I sold them, I got them like for 4 euros each. I sold them a little before for 6-7 euros each, and as you can see, they are climbing in price. And this one is a screaming buy. As you can see, so little available, and yeah, these two are probably, and these are probably your last opportunities to get this card for cheap, because this one will for sure climb in price. Then another evolution line. These ones might take a while, but once again, just think that evolution lines will always do well. And there is Pidgeot over here, as well as Pidgeotto, and then Pidgey. So with evolution lines, with legendaries, or with starters that might be many cards available, you just have to think that these plays might take a little bit more to perform well, but with cards with low available items, they will jump in price faster. And there is that grace period that I mentioned before, that will show the true market value for the cards. So this is from Obsidian Flames, and then we go into Paradox Rift. Very obvious play, Mienshao. As you can see, so little available, and you can get this card as cheap as like 6 euros shipped to you, 6 to 7 euros shipped to you. So I do think that this one is a very obvious buy. Minior, I have a lot of them. I do think it's around 3 cards of this one for my binder, because I don't have it yet. So it's 2 or 3 cards. I don't know if I purchased 3 or 4 copies, but yeah, I purchased them shipped around 7 euros, 6 euros each one. And as you can see, there is so little available. Very, very little available. So yeah, so this one, it's a very obvious purchase right now. Another one, Garbodor. Very obvious for the same reasons. As you can see, this card is fairly cheap. And another legendary, and this one, it surprises me that I already have this card. I purchased it in a big purchase that I did like a month ago, and I got it a little bit cheaper because the seller didn't have one of the cards that I requested, and they offered a discount, and I just said, okay, so can we change and you give me Yelveltal a little bit cheaper? And he agreed to it. Thanks so much to him. I already have this one in my binder for around this price. It's what I paid for it, and as you can see, there is very little available, and for sure this card will jump in price. And if you don't want to pay this price for these cards, you always have the option to get Japanese. And I do think that this card is fairly cheap in Japanese. We can check. Yeah. As you can see, you would pay a fraction of the price. But even this one is very little available. So people are moving it into these options as well. Either way, let's move on and let's go to the Pikachu clone, Morpeko. It's also very little available, and you can have these cards for around 12, 13, 14 euros in your hands, and will probably climb in price. And once again, as you can see, very little available, so that is your purchase opportunity. As well as Loudred. This one, another obvious buy. And this one, I do think it's the last window of opportunity that you have, because it will for sure jump in price. As well as Porygon, as you can see, very little available. Another big opportunity to pick these cards. And the last one is Tapu Koko. I actually have 2 available right now, and I do think it's a fair price. It's between the average 30 days and the price trend. And as you can see right here, there is little available. How much do I paid for this card? 8 euros. Because I did the same as I did with the others. And this is a good example to finish our video off with some of the singles that I think are glaring and screaming buys, and are huge opportunities to get in, to complete your binder, to get some extras, to sell, and to realize some profits, so you'll be able to get more cards. I hope this video helped in any way possible. So now you have some of the opportunities in front of you. Just check, respect your budget, respect the market, and pick the best options for you. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.